Okay. Okay. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are across the globe. Welcome, ladies and gents, to On the Sofa with yours truly, Esther Austin. I hope I'm coming through loud and clear wherever you are across the globe. Well, today I'm doing a different type of show. Usually I do a music show on a Sunday where I interview legends and pioneers from the entertainment world. But today, Wednesday, I thought it'd be nice to start to get down, as we say, to some nitty gritty and talk about some really profound subjects that are impacting us on many levels. So I'd like to introduce these two gentlemen. They are from Nigeria, or they're in Nigeria, and they've got an incredible short animation out called The Song Maiden. It's a very powerful, I would say, animation about child marriages. So we're going to have a really meaty discussion today. So, gentlemen, I'd like you to introduce yourselves. So, the gentleman with the glasses, good day to you, sir.
All right. Hi, Esther. My name is Nkem Nwaturuocha. I run a creative studio in Nigeria, in Lagos, called Disrupt DNA, and we are the creators of the song Maiden, and we're really proud of it.
Okay,
Hmm.
hi. Sunny Tobiloba, the lead studio animator on the project Song Maiden.
Can't hear you
Really,
that well.
I'm Sunny Tobiloba,
Yeah.
the lead studio animator on the project Song Maiden. I'm really excited to be here with you.
Brilliant, brilliant. Now, I met um, Unkem. Unkem, is that
Yes,
right? Yes,
yes,
brilliant. When I was in South Africa a few weeks ago, we attended Fame Week Africa. And Fame Week Africa is this new but wonderful for South Africa um, event where it brings to B2B, business to business. Opportunities for those in the entertainment world to come together to network and to build. And this event is very much about putting not just South Africa, but Africa back on the map, for it to be the place to be where, people in the entertainment world, producers, directors, entertainers go to do business. And that's where I met this gentleman. And I must say, I watched one of the 15-minute clips of the song Maiden, and I was quite taken back. I mean, I know you told me about it, but just to watch it, that the visual aspects of child marriage,
Mhm.
and how that impacts and influences on so many levels. So let's
Yeah.
reel things back a bit. Why did you choose to do a animation short about child marriages?
Uh, yeah. So in 2016, I was on a road trip. I was traveling around Nigeria. Nigeria is quite it's very diverse in terms of ethnic groups and religious backgrounds and all of that. So we're on this road trip for 45 days, and we got to a little town called Song, and there I mean, it's a place beyond the mountains, and the mountains are like really big. First time in my life to see mountains that big,
Mm,
and it's just a very good place, very nice place, and it was stories to tell. Then I ended up talking to someone, and he all he had to say was, look, we've been through a lot. People have seen this town evolved over time,
mm,
and part of the things he talked about was about child marriages. That if I look around, I'll see, like girls who are mothers, right? And I have two kids of my own, and
mm,
that story stuck with me. And I said, well, if there's one thing I would want is for my own kids to be able to live freely, do what they want to do, and not be boxed in this whole conversation we're having now about
mm.
losing their childhood to something like this. So I thought to myself, when it's right, when we can tell the story, when we have the right expertise, we'll be able to put something together like a
Mm,
story to just remind people that as much as we talk about new shoes, new hair, and all of that, there's some people who can't have that conversation what they are talking about is, oh, when will I stop being a child and then become a mother? So um, I met Toby in 2017, I think,
Yeah.
and we talked about the story from that time, and um, we just said to ourselves that we have to tell the story in
Mm,
our own, and that's what we did.
okay. And you said you looked around and you just saw lots of well, children actually. I mean, what was the youngest
Well,
child that you saw that was
yeah, I I
married?
I, I, I couldn't tell. I mean, the truth is, with stuff like that, you can't go around asking how old are you, a language barrier, and all of that. You could just tell they were really young, right? And that picture stays with you for a long time. A
Mm,
really long time, yeah.
mm,
So and we started doing some research, started finding some data, and you find out it's a global. I mean, it's a menace everywhere. It's not just something particular to Nigeria or Africa. It's really
yeah.
really big, and I think people are doing a lot in trying to talk to people about it. But
Mm,
one more voice won't be a bad thing. So I think
you're the one
we
more
thought it was
voice.
important for us, yeah, to
Mm,
lend our own voice as well.
brilliant, brilliant. And Toby, you're the illustrator of the song Maiden. What was it like for you from a male perspective working on something like this? I mean, are
Um,
you a father yourself?
no, no, not yet.
Not yet.
So
Not yet.
yeah. So I think when Nkem shared the Song Maiden story, it was quite different. It's not your conventional type of story that I work on, or not your superhero type of story, not your um, regular type of story. I mean, it was different, and I felt like it was a challenge for us to be able to
Mm,
tell a story like that. And we're much more concerned about the emotional connection we are going to actually get from doing a story like this. So it took
mm,
us long while to be able to figure out a lot of things.
Yeah,
Do you understand? Like it took us a really, really long while to be able to put a lot of things together to tell this story. But I think at the end of the day, we pulled through and then we overcame the challenge, and here
yeah,
we are at the end of the day. So
yeah,
for me, it was telling the story from a male perspective. I think I have sisters, so I mean,
okay.
I could kind of relate in a way, and to be able to tell a story that will reach a lot of people and to lend a voice through animation, using animation as a tool, I think is quite beautiful. And then, yeah, that's it. That's it for me. I think we are going somewhere with all these things that we're doing, and trust me, it's just getting started.
yeah.
Excellent, excellent. And working on this, I mean, we're going to talk a bit more about that, but working on the animation, how did it change you both, particularly as men? Um, I go deep sometimes. I'm sorry, I forgot to
Yeah,
tell you this, but that's one of those things.
yeah,
How did it change you or impact you? Because you said you've got two girls, so I guess it
yeah,
would have been more poignant for you.
yeah. Um, so it's a whole different level. First, it made me realize what my role is as a father in terms
Mm,
of protecting my girls, um, trying to, put them in front of the things that will help them achieve their own dreams, what they want to do. But it's also like it stays in you, and you find yourself, having this conversation even with people who are not fathers yet. You're saying, "Oh, look, we have to be vocal about stuff like this." I think culturally, religiously, politically, there are a lot of places where these conversations can be had, but
yes,
these places are also areas where, unfortunately, they are also part of, also part of it. In fact, we were talking about House of Dragons, the new series for HBO recently, and it was, for me, what was, it's how it's been in our culture from time immemorial. As in,
mm,
we don't look at it. It's been there and it has stayed there, and somehow it's flying under the radar. People are not talking about it. People see it and then they are numb. It's okay.
Okay. Yes.
It's not okay,
Yes.
but it's, but somehow it's okay. People can carry on without, having those conversations. How old is she? She's 15, and then she's a mother. How can we be comfortable? And not just a mother, but then she's married to
Mm.
someone. So my daughter is 12, the big one, and the other one is 10. And I want them to be kids for a long time to enjoy that
Beautiful. Yeah.
childhood discovery, and I won't want anybody to cut that short, and I will be the last person to cut it short for them. So it's important for me and friends that I have, people that I speak with who have sisters, daughters, even if they have sons, to just keep talking about it and reminding people that it's not just right.
Mm. But do you think it's still under the radar because there is this thing about girl children sort of
Yeah,
often being second class citizens as well. So I
yeah,
guess it's still easy for that whatever they're doing to go under the radar because they're not seen as if for want of a better word, they're not seen as equals. They're not really seen as to have the right to freedom, to expression. So I think part of it is that as well as the cultural aspects, but then a lot of the cultural aspects are that of um, keeping the female child down, would you say?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, here's the for me, I I can only say that things like this, it's like pay equality in pay, equality at workplaces.
Mm,
We have to be intentional about everything. Nothing will happen by accident. So, and this is us being intentional about our story, right? We're telling a story that hits a particular subject on the head. It's not a popular story. It's not the kind of story people want to talk about. But the truth is, it starts from here. When
yes.
men join in the conversation, when men become, you know, you're not tolerant to,
Hmm.
situations like this. You do not want women, girls, whether they are young or older, to not have a place where they have a voice. I think it's men have to get involved, and this is us as men getting involved, telling it with what we know how to use, which is storytelling, filmmaking, animation, and all of that. Lending a voice, calling on men as well to be part of this conversation, and even women, because sometimes when women speak up, other people will listen as well.
Well,
So
listen,
I think
yes.
it's great what you're doing. I mean, we ran into you and you're like, oh, well, let's talk about this, and here we are talking about it. And these are the kind of platform that we need to have this conversation going.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. And I'm just going to read this sort of powerful, brief narrative that you put in your bio. We were talking
Yeah.
about that before. Thank you to Prudence. Thank you very much for listening in. We're talking about child marriages. So if you've got any questions that you'd like to field to my two guests, then do feel free. Lovely to have you on. Right. So from the brief, it says the Song Maiden, freedom or nothing. The greatest part of our human story is to seek freedom and to break free from barriers. Not just a story of a girl who wants to break free from a culture. It's the story of everyone who has ever been oppressed and wants to break free, whether physically, emotionally, or psychologically.
Yeah.
Um, and it I think that's a powerful statement because people are I would say enslaved on many different levels, and you said something key there just now. Nkem, Nkem, have I pronounced that correctly? Yeah, Nkem.
Correctly. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. You said something powerful there in terms of who needs to be part of the narrative. Men need to be part of the narrative. Women also, because there are women who've been through that and they know what it's like. And there's a lot of fear around stepping out and lending your voice. But also with that fear, it could also bring about a collaborative coming together of all that
Yeah.
fear where it
Yeah.
breaks into a movement.
Yeah.
And Toby, I'm going to come to you now because you're sitting quietly there in the corner. You know, so I see you. So
Uh,
Toby, as I said, being the illustrator, obviously, like you said, it was something different that you worked on. It was a sort of new concept, even a new
yeah.
narrative. Um, so what was the process of you putting the animated short together? If you just give us a brief of the process, because of the subject matter, it must have been an interesting process.
Mm.
Yeah, it was interesting, but I have to be honest. I don't think we figured it out in our first try. I think we went through a lot of trial and errors. So we're trying to like build the right process for us to work with. We're trying a lot of things, which
Mm,
eventually we were able to get our stand, and then we understood how we wanted to tell the story. And we changed a lot of things
Yeah.
in between the stories.
Yeah.
We added a lot of things, even at last moments, and I think even down to the backgrounds, we had to like go into details for us to capture this environment that is telling the story, and then the character. We changed the character a couple of times
Yeah.
just to be able. We're not just doing an animation because we want to do an animation. We're doing an animation that passes the message we're trying to pass. You get, so when you watch this story, when you watch this animation, you don't get lost with the animation. You actually understand the message we're telling, and then you get the emotion, you get the feeling we are trying to get you to feel. I think that was our intention, and then we're glad when we let it out there, and then we got the feedback that we got. I mean, it got a lot of people crying. I think I got I got responses that a lot of ladies watched this thing and then they were crying because they could connect to what we just did, which was very very humbling on our part
On one
because
side.
we never saw this coming. We knew what we wanted to do. We knew where we were going, but
mm,
for us it was more about the journey, and then seeing that the journey was beautiful, and then and the end of the process, the final result was also beautiful. It was just mind blowing for us, and
Yeah.
we're glad we tried it. Glad
Yeah.
we tried something different. So yeah,
mm.
that's it.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So where to now? I mean, where are you? I mean, what's happening with the short at the moment? Where is it being shown? And then what's the bigger vision for it? Because it's not just a short. This is a conversation. It's almost
Yeah.
like this is a campaign. So where are
Yeah.
you going to be taking this, or where do you want to take this?
Good that you asked. At Film Week, we even had a couple of interest in terms of helping us distribute. We got some calls from some distributors who were like, you know what, we would like to have this on our platform. We're happy to um, give you more. Just let's have it on the platform. So currently, it's on YouTube. Um, we've thrown it into a lot of festivals around the country, around the world. We had some in like today we got yesterday we got a notification that it's been selected for another festival. So it's
Excellent.
stuff like this that we think it's the goal. And ultimately, we ended up setting up a petition together, and we're saying, asking people to join this conversation, lend a voice.
Mm,
Um, you can watch something and don't take action, right? You can watch it, appreciate what the creators have done, and then you say, "Oh, good stuff," and then you walk away. But then
mm,
we put the link there and say, "Look, we need you to sign the petition." Just shows a show of support. Um, so the petition is there at the end of when the credits begin to roll. On YouTube, the petition is right there for people to join. We are planning some conversation around schools where we will call young girls between 14 and 18 to sit down, let them watch it. We're hoping we can have some symbolic breaking of the ribbon, just to
Yeah.
show that you can be free to be who you want to be, go where you want to go, and live your life to the fullest. We hope that
Mm.
um, some parents will even join the conversation, because it actually starts with the parents as the first line of defense for their children, and community. We want to send those same petition to our reps across our local governments. And I mean, it's just to the conversation has been ongoing. I think last year, in the last decade, they said 25. I think that's the UNICEF stat. 25 million child marriages have been stopped in the last 10 years. And this is a collective contribution of what people are doing around the world. So,
Mm.
but we can't stop. And there's another stat that says if we stop now, 110 million girls will end up being married in the next 10 years. So it's important that we keep doing this, we keep talking about it in every way we can, in every platform that we can. And yeah, that's what we want to keep doing.
Brilliant. And also, as you're
Yeah,
talking, because I'm going to show the clip after this, but it's
yeah,
also about changing mindsets, cultural mindsets. As you said,
yeah,
going into schools and talking to girls, and I
yeah,
know there are girls younger than 14 who are forced
yeah,
into child marriage. But
yeah,
also, when you're talking to girls, you can talk to them about freedom, but then it's also the environments they're in, because they might have that sense of freedom, but
yeah,
because of their parents, and with sometimes it's a cultural mindset, and it's not to dismiss or diminish that cultural way of operating, but
yeah,
sometimes we have to learn to change with the times as well, and
yeah,
really look and see, is this
yeah,
really working, and what is this really about?
yeah. You're 100% correct. There's a popular Nigerian actress who, sometime in 2014, she went on this mission to educate the country, really, with a movie called Dry, and that movie was supposed to address some condition in young girls who are pregnant and having babies, VVF. So, and it was so powerful what she did with that. I mean, she brought the attention to young girls having babies,
Mm,
and that was it. So what we're saying now is they shouldn't be having babies. They should be in school. They should,
yes.
so collectively, whether parents, communities, our leaders, even religious leaders, political leaders, business leaders as well.
Mm,
And that it makes us happy. October 11th is the International Day of the Girl Child.
child.
And yes, and we have brands like Sparkle, a Nigerian digital bank that is so interested in what we're doing, and because their own brand standing is freedom, and they said, "Oh, we really like what you guys have done. We'll come on board, and let's see how we can organize like a forum to have this
Excellent.
conversation." And we're glad that's happening.
Excellent, excellent. Well, if anybody needs to know more about what these gentlemen are doing, you can see the website that's scrolling along the bottom. And in winding down, is there anything else that you want to share with the audience? Thank you for those who are listening. Um, so, is there anything else you want to share with those who are listening, or just with the world at large? Because this video is going to be put out onto different platforms anyway.
Okay. Here for us is our message is simple. A child should be a child. A
Mm,
child should be allowed to run free. A child should be allowed to make mistakes. A child should be allowed to be a child. To men, your job is to frown at this, stop it, call it out, call your friends out, call your leaders out, call anybody who you find doing this out. What's wrong is wrong. and to, I mean, religious leaders. And look, you cannot not take a stand. If you don't take a stand, this will continue. One day we will be living in a place where we're all numb completely to the ills and every one of these things. So let's start from a place. Let's have this conversation. Let's tell people what um, a child should be a child. A child should be allowed to be free to go to school, to live life, good life, healthy life. And then we teach them. We teach them how to respect themselves, how to respect others, but also how to take charge of their own life. I mean,
Yeah.
and my kids are the most, you know, adventurous children. I wasn't as adventurous as they are, and I think it's because I have created that environment in my house where you are allowed to be yourself. So,
Mm.
and if I see that in my children, I want that in so many other children. So for me,
Mm.
that's my message. Yeah.
But you have a certain mindset that I think is quite, can be seen as quite unique.
Mm.
Um, but that's for another conversation. I mean, there's so many different conversations that has just come out of this one. But I'd like to thank you both for the work you're doing, Toby. Like you thank, and you know, even the character. Just one last thing. I promise this is the last one. But Toby, you know, putting the character together. How did you? What was the concept of? Because you could have done her with maybe traditional features. So, what was the concept of how she looks?
Okay, I think initially, yes, we had the traditional look with the
Yeah.
bun and then the big nose and everything. But I
Yeah.
think I just thought that, okay, yeah, we're talking about freedom, right? We want a girl who is free that expresses herself a lot.
Mhm.
You get, so we went with the wrong hair. Do you understand? That could actually show that freedom when she's running in the wind and then the flow of the air. And then we
Mm,
went with her on flowing also with the wind. And then when it got to the point where she was getting married, you see all that being folded into a bond, of like trying to restrict everything that she is
yes.
as a person and as a character.
Yeah.
So for us, that actually visually meant something, and it was very powerful for us. So we felt like, you know what, we are going to do it this way. So I think that was what inspired we making her look like that. Yeah, it was not. It's not. It doesn't look like your traditional little
Yeah.
girl. Yeah,
Mm,
but for the story we're trying to tell, it's actually kind of worked, and then we're cool with that. So that's it.
brilliant, brilliant. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, there's if you want to find out more, you can go to Disrupt DNA. I love that Disrupt DNA. That's proper. It's like we are going to disrupt at the cellular
Yeah.
level. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're going in. Well, gentlemen,
In,
just like to say thank you again for your time. And what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to go over, ladies and gents, to showing. And let's see if it's going to do a clip of that video. Well, ladies and gentlemen, all I can say is powerful. So I would suggest you go to disruptdna.com and find out more about what these gentlemen are doing around child marriages and become part of the discussion. You know, they said it takes a community, it takes a village to raise a child. But now that village is in trouble, we need to be there for each other. So thank you, wishing you all the best, and hope to have another conversation with you at some point further around this. Thank you both.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.